Welcome to Gray Overload. I'm Anthony, and this is going to be about my Ubiquiti frustrations. Um, in my last video about Ubiquiti, you would have seen that I had to RMA my doorbell again. So that's two RMAs, and that was a frustration. But this frustration is more software, and what frustrates me a lot is the usability of it. So I'm develop software. That's my day job, and this whole thing with Ubiquiti is driving me insane. One, I had to go someplace when I got the doorbell, so I did a little video on, saying, hey, I finally got it. Then I was gonna go hook it up. I'm going to hook it up, and I can't set it up. It just sits there at adopting. I know that when I first got it, it would allow me to select which Wi-Fi I was using, all that sort of stuff. Well, it does none of that anymore. It just tries to go off and adopt. So I open up a chat after trying a multitude of things, and silly me, why didn't I just turn off my two other Wi-Fis that have different VLANs? Because the camera can only connect through the LAN one. Like, why was that a change, and why doesn't that come out with a help string, and why do I have to spend 30 minutes on a chat window to try to figure it out? You're selling APs with multiple multiple SSID capabilities, and since these are prosumer products, you'd think that people would set up multitude of SSIDs with different VLANs. That makes sense. So why are we going through Ubiquiti and creating this problem that then I have to go talk to chat or technical support to be able to get through this? I'm very capable. I spent a lot of time on this problem, resetting it, getting it through adopting, and all I needed to do was turn off two Wi-Fi's. I mean, one, I shouldn't have to be able to do that. I should just be able to select which Wi-Fi I want to connect to and go from there, but that didn't work. Or at least use the Wi-Fi that's same to my that's on the phone that I'm adopting on. So that is one frustration. Very, very poor software implementation there on setup. I get it if you just bought your Ubiquiti system and you dropped all your money on your cameras and your um, NVR and or UDM Pro or something like that, and you're setting it all up at once, right? It's going to be a fresh setup. They might not even get to the different SSIDs, different VLANs, etc. But to do whatever you're doing behind the background there, on just allowing the camera to adopt and seeing nothing, and it just sit there, and my only recourse is to reset, is not a good implementation of software, not a good user experience. Um, I mean, that's one thing that I focus on a lot is user experiences and making sure software is tested and it's fully operational. And along with I work on the whole pipeline, right? And so that just annoys me to no end because this is a fixable problem, and you had it better before. And whenever you make something worse, that's a huge frustration. And if you want more people to use your products, you're going to have to do a better job at creating better software and better usability, or people are going to go to different areas. I mean, in my last video, you heard that, if you watched the video, is that I'm looking for alternatives, right? I've spent a lot of money on Ubiquiti stuff. This is all out of my own pocket, and it is a frustration of do I start moving my whole entire network away from Ubiquiti? And if I move my network away from it, I'm going to be moving everyone else's, that like my parents, away from it. And chances are anybody else has a recommendation, they are not going to get Ubiquiti from me, which is a lot of people because I do a lot of tech stuff for a lot of people. So that is a frustration. Now my second frustration is also with the cameras. Funny, the network stuff has been pretty rock solid for me actually here in the last, actually the entire time. It's rock solid. I've been impressed with that side. But let's touch on that a little bit later, and let's get to my other frustration point, which is Ubiquiti. When I'm going through and setting up a new camera, when I enable smart detection, Why is that in multiple areas to enable? My doorbell was working fine. Even the new doorbell, installed it, set it up. It had smart detection right away. I enabled it. It was all working. Great. Why is it that my G4 Pro was not working? And I only really cared about it once the doorbell died again, and I wanted that notification to me when somebody's in my driveway, etc. So here it is. I'm going through, and I decided email support, which I will say support is good at helping you through problems. It may take them a while through email, but they eventually get through it. And chat is much faster, so if you need something more urgent, do chat. And I'm going through, and they said, well, just go through and make sure your motion detections, and this is after like 3 weeks, detection centers have it enabled. Okay, Ubiquiti. You have 3 areas where you enable smart detection. 1, in your settings page on the Protect. 2, you can enable it inside the settings. 3, you have it also then set up for the smart detection motion areas. No, that's wrong. You don't have it in 3 areas. That's really bad development. And if it's enabled, it has to enable it in that motion area where it is a hidden area, right? After somebody's turned on motion smart detection on the main settings page, and then they turn on smart detection in the settings, the little slider that says, okay, it's on for people and vehicles or whatever they want, then that needs to enable it in that motion area or in that smart detection motion area, because I'm not going to look there. I've already enabled it. Why do I need to look in a third place to enable it? This is mind-boggling how bad of software UI user interface it is there. I have no idea who thought of this and why it was disabled after you enable it in 2 other areas. And if there's a reason, it's not a good one. I understand that once you get into that section, you can determine what the smart detection areas are, either for vehicle or for people, etc. But your whole workflow doesn't work well to be able to do that, right? It's either smart detection areas, and then you allow the person to go in there to enable and disable everything, and you take the other setting out, and then you have smart detections on the whole device. I can get along with 2, but 3 is just too much, because now you're losing your settings down a rabbit trail of UI stuff that you're covering up, making something more complicated when it should be getting easier. It's really bad design. I don't know who's even thought of this, but no, they need to be in a team that has different ideas and that guides them in a better way, because this is bad. Um, if you've ever been in design, a UI design thing, you always, first start out with the customer being the focus point and how things will be effective and efficient and easy to understand. And you have to make sure that easy to understand is there, because when you're putting in 3 different places to enable something, that's a no-no, right? Because that's no longer easy to understand, and the customer's going to get lost after he's enabled it twice, or she, in my case, he enabled it twice, and why am I looking for a third spot, right? The motion detection or the smart detection area, yeah, of course it's enabled there. I've already enabled it twice. No, not with Ubiquiti. You have to go another layer. So that is my frustration, Ubiquiti. You've had the past month, there's been 2 issues. And I'm doing this video because you guys asked me how I feel. So I'm just going to post this video inside that comment section when I rate you guys and how well you did. So overall, though, the support people and getting me through tears, I mean, it took like a month, probably 3 weeks, a month for this last issue. The other one was a chat of, I said I have 30 minutes before I have to leave. Let's go. And he was able to help me through that. So that was actually a great timing for 20, 30 minutes to get that doorbell done. So those are my 2 issues. I will say that this, getting back with support, that's a positive. Now, on the network side of things, I will say I've been impressed. 1, Ubiquiti. I set up a UDM Pro, a PoE 8 Lite, and two U6 LRs for my parents. Work great. I update them remotely. I manage them remotely. They have not had a network issue, and it's going to be coming on a year here, and their network issues haven't happened. Right? It's been amazing. They were having so many problems before on their network. I eliminated them with your setup. So that makes me want to keep it, right? I'm in this thing where I'm willing to try alternatives, but at the same time, Ubiquiti just solved a major, pain point I had with being able to, with their equipment of solving my parents' network things. Now, if they had to go through and had, protect and everything else, we might be having a different conversation. Now, in my setup, the network has been rock solid. I've not had an issue. I have a 24 port um, PoE switch of theirs. I have two nanos, an LR. I like to get a Pro. Um, well, let's say that. And then I have a G4 Pro, a G3 Instant, and a G4 doorbell. I need some more cameras, but it costs money, right? So I haven't done that yet. Now, I would also like to update and put either some LR6s or U6 LRs as well, or replace the Nanos with the Pros and get a little bit better range. And I need to do something for my outdoor range as well. So those are two areas I still need to work on and do. Now, I'd like to go with that. However, the camera stuff makes me worried if they're actually going to put better software forward, or if they're going to get mucked up like they did for the cameras and mess up that UI. Because I don't want to have to continually try to find settings because you're redundantly putting them in there for no apparent reason. And that is a concern. So now I'm sitting here, well, one, I'm not in a position to really spend a whole bunch of money on the network right now. But do I wait, or do I, go through and maybe put this out? I'm really in a predicament of trying to figure out what to do. Now, I will take your suggestions, and Ubiquiti, if you're free to reach out, I'm more than willing to talk to you about the things. I'm I mean, I think that would be good. It would be helpful. If you find it helpful, I'm more than willing to give my feedback back. That's just, I'm willing to look at things and do it because I like to have a better product, right? If we can have a better product for consumers, it's always a win. But I'm willing to take suggestions of everything else. If other people have other ideas of what I should be putting out there, I have a pretty basic network. I know that some of you out there probably have way more advanced stuff and know way more than me about this. And that's I'm more I like to learn, so teach me. I'm more than willing. You give me suggestions, and I'm willing to look at it. So, um, yeah, improving the network is one thing. I want to have. I don't. I know I won't get my whole entire property covered. I have 5 acres, but I do want at least my main lawn area all covered, which is my front yard, which is I think it's mostly covered right now, and I think with another um, indoor one or a better indoor one, I would cover it rather than nano. But my backyard, which is over an acre, I would like to try to cover as much of that as possible. There's no obstructions, right, if I put it out there. So these are a couple of things that are going through my head of what I want to do, and I would really like to see what you guys think. My frustrations with Ubiquiti, they're solvable. All these issues are solvable because they're software, and unless there's a huge problem at the company where they don't let people with good design going through, and those people are the only ones getting promoted and squashing out all the good design stuff and all the good ideas, well, then we have a problem, right? But usually, eventually the best things do rise back up, and hopefully that will be solved. So, Ubiquiti, you have a chance to fix this, and I do read the Reddit post of people, and they do have issues. So let's try to fix this. But if you have any questions, you just reach out to me, leave them in the comments below. Either one. You can do through email as well. And I'm more than willing to respond to people and to hopefully help out. If you have ideas, or suggestions, leave those in the comments. I really would like to see an improvement here, and I want my network more robust and more coverage. So I'm more than willing to take those into account and to be able to learn a little bit as well. So with that, do want to say thank you guys for watching. Thank you for taking the time to help support Gray Overload and helping this channel grow. I really appreciate it. And until next time, God bless, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.